The roadmap is a 63-page document for districts to use that provides both a set of mandates as well as strong guidance on the use of PE, good hand hygiene, cleaning and disinfecting protocols, how to handle transportation, athletics, and more. Alongside the roadmap, the governor also announced that she was allocating $256 million above and beyond current levels of funding to support every school's ability to implement the plan. The roadmap has a robust section on students and educators' mental health and wellness, and recognizes that that is just as important of an issue as the physical health and wellness of students and educators, and provides guidance on how schools can address this issue. We're really proud of the plan we put forward, and we think that it will help districts across the state protect students and the more than 100,000 educators who are dedicated their lives to helping our students grow. The governor has talked a lot about how it is our fervent hope that we are able to return to face-to-face instruction. At the outset of establishing the advisory council, we agreed that our first and foremost preference is that students are able to go back to school face-to-face. That being said, particularly as we've seen an increase in the number of cases in the last week or so, the governor has also said very clearly that if it is not safe to return to school, she will feel comfortable making that tough call. And so that's why over the next 6 or 7 weeks in particular, we are very, very focused on maximizing the chances that schools can reopen for face-to-face instruction. And that's why it's so important to remain vigilant about our facial coverings requirements. Right now, the region where Detroit is in phase 4, which does allow for face-to-face instruction with very strict health and safety protocols that are required for every district to implement. Should we go to phase 5, districts will have some flexibility to implement a health and safety plan that fits the community, and school boards will have to adopt that plan. If instead we go backwards to phase 3, which is the last thing we want, then schools will again go back into a remote learning posture. We will continue to rely on data and science and recommendations from health experts to protect Michigan families from COVID-19. And our plan again was first and most rooted in that public health data. We monitor that data closely, and we are doing everything we can to lower the chance of a second wave. And then the last thing I'll say is that in order to best support districts, we recognize that additional federal support in the form of funding is necessary. While we were able to allocate $256 million to help districts implement the roadmap, we do recognize that that's not enough and more is needed. And so we have constant daily calls with our congressional delegation and are hoping to work with our representatives and senators in Washington, D.C. to get the funding that we need really for next school year to help support, and preventing any budget cuts. We need Congress to pass additional financial support to states so that we can ensure that education is properly funded.
What is your personal thought about children going back to school? Do you think that we're prepared to send children back?
I have a son who's about to be 5, who is going to be starting kindergarten in the fall, and I can only imagine. It's not that I can imagine now these really tough decisions that families need to make. I'm now in that position. I do feel confident in our district's abilities to make schools as safe as possible, both for the children and for their teachers and educators and support staff that are so important. And so I do feel confident that schools have what they need and really robust plans that will maximize health and safety for for our school communities. But at the same time, I also have a lot of respect for families that aren't confident, and we need to make sure that they're receiving appropriate remote learning services so that their students can still learn from home. And then I also recognize that there are children that are immunocompromised or otherwise at higher risk. And again, really respect the parents and families who are making a different decision.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.